Your brain is being rewired every single day. Not by you, by them. And the worst part? You're letting it happen. This video isn't just about sex. It's about what they've done to your focus, your drive, your ability to feel anything real. So if you think this is just another stop watching porn speech, think again. Because by the time this video ends, you'll know exactly how your brain was hacked and how to take it back before it rewires you forever. The invisible addiction. Nobody ever tells you when you're becoming addicted, because it doesn't feel like an addiction. You're not in a dark alley. You're in your room, scrolling, tapping, watching, and slowly losing control. What's happening here isn't weakness. It's a behavioral trap built on psychology, and you're inside it. The setup. Why you're vulnerable and don't even know it. Let me explain. Your brain wasn't built for this world. It evolved to chase food, warmth, and reproduction, not unlimited access to fantasy. Every time you watch something sexual, you're hijacking a primal reward system. Your brain releases dopamine, not because it's good for you, but because it feels urgent. Over time, this loop burns out your reward center. And here's the terrifying part. It doesn't stop at content. It bleeds into your relationships, your motivation, your work, your sleep. The very chemistry that made you feel alive is now working against you. What they don't want you to ask yourself, if you weren't addicted, why can't you stop? Why does silence feel wrong now? Why does boredom make you panic? You were trained for this, not by accident, by design. This isn't just bad habit, it's behavioral engineering, the same tech used in casinos, apps, and social media. You are not the user, you are the product. Why willpower isn't enough. Maybe you've tried to quit. Maybe you even made it a week. But then, stress hits. Loneliness creeps in. You just check one video. And suddenly, it's 2 a.m. You're alone again. Angry. Numb. Why? Because you didn't rewire the response. You only suppressed the behavior. That's like turning off the fire alarm and pretending there's no fire. This doesn't end where you think. Here's the part no one talks about. If you don't fix this, it doesn't just stay the same. It escalates. Harder to concentrate. Harder to feel motivated. Harder to experience real intimacy. Even when you're with someone you love. You feel like you're watching life happen instead of living it. And eventually, your brain stops chasing growth altogether. It just chases release. What happens if you do nothing? Let me ask you a brutal question. What happens if this continues for 6 more months? A year? 5 years? Are you still scrolling in the dark? Still distracted? Still alone in your own head, wondering where your ambition went? Or do you finally decide that your brain is yours again? Later in this video, we will uncover exactly how the content you're watching has been reverse engineered to keep you numb, needy, and never enough. And more importantly, we'll begin the reversal process, the hidden system that's controlling your brain. What if the content you choose to watch was never your choice to begin with? What if your cravings, your urges, were installed? Not because you're weak, but because someone figured out how to make your biology their business. This isn't just your brain reacting, it's your brain being shaped, the trap behind the pleasure. You think you're watching content, but really, the content is watching you. Every second you scroll, data is being collected. What makes you pause? What spikes your heart rate? What makes you click? What makes you not click? And behind all of it, algorithms that don't care about your values. Just one thing. How long can we keep you here? So they feed you what you can't resist. Short, fast, sexual, stimulating. Because that's what hijacks your reward system. Not once, not sometimes. Every single day. Your brain can't tell the difference. Here's what nobody warns you about. Your brain doesn't know the difference between virtual stimulation and real connection. So when you watch those videos, your brain thinks something important is happening. But there's no reward, no real interaction, no love, no bonding, no intimacy. just pixels, so it demands more. And every time you give in, you numb your ability to feel less exciting, but real experiences. The desensitization spiral. At first it's softcore, then it gets boring, then it's something edgier, then darker. Because the brain craves escalation, and nothing hits like the first time. But you can't get the first time back, so your brain just keeps chasing it, deeper into content that's faster, louder, more extreme, and slowly, your ability to feel satisfaction in anything else dies. You can't win the game they built. You think you're just bored. You think you just need to try harder. But this isn't a discipline problem. This is a system that was never meant for you to win. Because every second you fail to quit, you don't just stay stuck. You become more dependent. And here's the part that hurts. They don't care. They profit off your impulse. They bet you won't stop watching. The real question isn't why you're hooked. It's why you're still letting it happen. You're smart. You're aware. You've felt the emptiness after. So ask yourself this. Why am I still watching content that leaves me feeling worse? What are you actually trying to feel? What are you actually trying to escape? Because until you answer that, you'll keep going back, not for pleasure, but for relief, but for... Later in this video, we go deep into the withdrawal process, the part that almost no one talks about. Why your brain will panic when you start detoxing, why your urges spike when you try to stop, and how to push through the fog phase without going numb again. Because the hardest part of desexualizing your brain is facing the version of yourself you've been avoiding. Withdrawal isn't the problem, it's the mirror. What would happen if you stopped? Not just for a day, not just for a weekend. I mean, really stopped. No dopamine drip, no backup playlist, no escape. That's where withdrawal begins. Not with pain, but with you finally hearing the noise inside your own head. What withdrawal feels like. Let me prepare you, because this is the part no one tells you. Withdrawal doesn't show up with fireworks. It shows up with restlessness, sudden waves of self-doubt, random mood swings, boredom that feels like physical pain, a voice in your head whispering, "What's the point?" You're not broken. You're detoxing, not just from content, but from numbness itself. The psychology of the fog phase. There's a phase in brain rewiring called the dopamine gap. It's the time between when you remove the stimulus and when your brain starts producing its own motivation again. In this gap, you'll feel unmotivated. You'll feel low. You'll want to go back just once to feel normal. That's not weakness. That's your reward system rebooting. But here's the catch. If you give in now, the wiring goes back to zero. Why you're not craving pleasure, you're craving escape. Most people think they relapse because they miss the pleasure, but it's deeper than that. What you're actually chasing is distraction from discomfort, because real life is full of awkward moments, delayed rewards, vulnerability, uncertainty, and your brain. It forgot how to sit in those feelings without reaching for the quick fix. The first time you say no. Here's where everything changes. The first time you feel the urge, but don't act on it. Something subtle happens. The urge peaks. It gets uncomfortable. You breathe through it. And then it passes. No disaster. No collapse. No panic. Just space. That's your power coming back online. Identity shift begins from numb to aware. Every time you say no, you're not just building discipline. You're building a new identity. You stop being the guy who can't stop, and you become the guy who's doing something hard, on purpose. Let me say that again. It's not about quitting content. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need it anymore. That's what scares your old self, and that's exactly why it works. Later in this video, we begin the reconstruction phase. You'll learn how to rewire your reward system to crave focus instead of fantasy, how to replace urges with rituals that make you sharper, calmer, more creative, and how to design your life so that temptation becomes irrelevant, because you can't just unplug the brain, you have to reprogram it. Rewire your brain to crave what builds you. Now you've faced the silence. Now you've sat in the fire. And now comes the most important part, rewiring your brain to want what's good for you. Because if you don't install a new system, your brain will crawl back to the old one. It doesn't care about your goals. It just wants what's familiar. Step 1. Hijack your inputs before they hijack you again. Most people fail here. They try to use discipline while still swimming in junk. Let me be blunt. You can't keep feeding your brain poison and expect it to get stronger. Here's the fix. Start treating your content feed like your diet. Unfollow every account that exists to trigger you. Turn off autoplay. Replace entertainment with education, inspiration, or silence. Make your phone harder to access. Grayscale it. Remove shortcuts. Install blockers. Don't just resist the urge. Make the urge harder to reach. This isn't restriction. It's liberation. Step 2. Replace the reward. Here's the psychology. Your brain doesn't just stop wanting dopamine. It wants to earn it. So give it something real to earn. Every time you would have reached for a screen, do something productive instead, even tiny. 10 push-ups. Clean your desk. Meditate 60 seconds. Drink water and hold the moment. Write a sentence in a journal. Doesn't matter what. What matters is that it's real-world stimulus. That's how you shift from fake rewards to earned ones. Step 3. Design your dopamine. Let's go deeper. Most of us have dopamine by default. You need to design it by intent. Build these into your day. Morning friction, cold shower, silence, delayed phone use. Resets your threshold for pleasure. Midday momentum. Do one hard task before lunch. Builds confidence without stimulation. Nighttime input control. No screens, 1 hour before bed. Trains your brain to stop expecting digital highs. These aren't rules. They're tools. You're reshaping how your brain defines satisfaction. Identity reinforcement. You're becoming someone new. Here's where it gets psychological. Every action you take reinforces an identity. Meditate. I am calm under pressure. Resist urges. I control my mind. Learn a skill. I'm someone who grows when others quit. Finish a boring task. I do what's necessary, not just what's easy. You're not just building habits, you're building evidence, because motivation fades, but identity, that stays. What does life look like without the noise? Let me ask you something. What does a day look like where you feel no shame, no cravings, no pull? You wake up clear. You sit in silence with no itch. You work for 2 hours straight without needing a break. You see people, really see them. You live in the present, not the algorithm. This isn't a fantasy. It's the life you start building every time you choose discomfort over distraction. Later in this video, we finish the arc. How to permanently shift your identity, how to lock in your new brain pathways, and how to build a life so meaningful. The old you can't survive in it, because the goal isn't just to quit content. The goal is to become someone so focused, so alive, so driven, that nothing artificial could ever satisfy you again. Become the version of you that doesn't need to escape. There's a version of you that never escapes into a screen again, that feels calm in silence, that looks temptation in the face and doesn't flinch. But that version of you only exists if you kill off the version you are right now. Threat amplifier. Your old self isn't gone yet. Let's get one thing straight. Your old identity doesn't disappear just because you've made progress. It waits, quiet, patient, for a weak moment, a stressful day, a lonely night. That's when it whispers, "Come on, just one time." You've earned it. No one has to know. This is the final battle, not of behavior, of belief. Identity fusion. Build a self that conflict can't penetrate. Here's the secret. People don't quit because they lack willpower. They quit because they still believe they're the kind of person who gives in. So we rewrite that. You need to become, I'm someone who finishes what they start. I protect my mind like it's sacred. I build, I lead, I don't disappear. Discipline is who I am, not something I do when it's convenient. This isn't fake affirmations. This is how you reprogram your subconscious filters. The stories you tell yourself automatically every day. You stop being a person who's trying to quit. You start being a person who's already free. Mission anchoring. Replace urge with purpose. Let's go deeper. If you don't have something bigger to live for, your brain will always chase smaller things to die for. This is your antidote to relapse. Write your mission. Make it specific. Make it visible. Make it personal. Examples. I'm building a business that gives my family freedom. I'm becoming the kind of man my future kids will admire. I'm going to sit across from someone and give them my full attention. That mission is your shield. When the urge hits, you don't ask how to resist. You ask, will this help me become who I said I would be? Future pacing, the life that's coming. If you follow through on this, here's what's coming. Your thoughts get quieter. You feel yourself breathing deeply again. You walk into rooms without anxiety or distraction. You lock into work and get lost in the process. You become magnetic, not because you're perfect, but because you're present. And people notice, because real presence is rare, and rare is powerful. Lock the system. Make this who you are. Let's recap your blueprint. Step 1, break the input loop. Starve the algorithm of your attention. Step 2, push through the withdrawal. Let discomfort be your teacher. Step 3, rewire your reward system. Replace fantasy with effort. Step 4, build a new identity. Repeat actions that prove who you are becoming. Step 5, anchor to a mission. Use purpose to outpower your urges. You're not addicted to pleasure. You're addicted to not feeling pain. But pain has a purpose. It's not there to break you. It's there to wake you up. So choose pain. Choose presence. Choose to build a mind that can't be bought, seduced, or hijacked. Because the most dangerous man in the world is the one who doesn't need to escape. And now, that man is you.